Hey fam, what's going on? This is Jessica Pickens. Welcome to Pickens Realities, our Blended Family Truths podcast.
Hi guys.
Welcome. Not the longest guys on the face of the planet.
Welcome back to another episode of Black in America. Now get it. It's me,
Why?
the elite, the greatest sibling,
God.
the greatest daughter, the greatest mom.
How about start with the title again?
Greatest. Thank you for tuning in to Pickens Realities and Blended Family Truths, where we talk about blended family matters because
Blended families matter. Yes, they do.
Yes, we got a lot.
We do. They do.
I gotta stop chicken.
Yes.
I'm sorry. But again, I'm the elite, the GOAT, the greatest, her, him, Himothy, Hermothy.
Stop it.
I am all encompassing of everything that you could ever imagine. Why? Because I'm Jayla.
We're going to say the H word again. Humility, daughter. Humility.
I'm very
Humility.
humble. I'm like, I was going to go there.
Are we done? Okay.
Say our president. But
No. And I'm Jessica, the mom, the wife of the Pickenses, blended family. And we're going to leave it at that. And today, you all, we are going to flip the script a bit. Okay. Do not start already. Okay. I cannot, really. Are you going to cooperate today?
I am. I'm chilling.
Okay. So today we're going to flip the script because usually it's Jayla managing the questions and leading the conversation. And today I'm really going to interview Jayla as we are going to talk about going from bonus to bonded and a bonus daughter's journey and your path and your perspective on blended family dynamics, but specifically about the process that you and I went through to go from a bonus relationship to a truly bonded relationship. Mm-hmm. So for those who don't know, again, I always give a little bit of, I told Calvin, I'm going to be like this.
Right, I'm over here like.
So for those who may be watching for the first time or don't know, number one, go back and watch episode 1, The Meet, to learn about how our family came to be. Me and Jayla's dad, Tyrone, the dad, the husband, crazy. We were crazy kids, y'all. Met and married in less than 90 days, immediately blending our 4 existing children together. And he brought more to the party than me, y'all. So
well, it's an anomaly.
It is for real.
Recommend.
And look, here he comes down the stairs. Look, like, hey, why are you talking about that again? But I was a single mom. I had one son who I had out of wedlock, had never been married. And Tyrone had his 3 beautiful children, my bonus babies. Why? Are we going to? I just don't know if we're going to make it. Do you need a moment? You need a moment? Okay. So immediately blending 4 children out the gate in less than 90 days, shake and bake, boom, family. And then we had 2 additional children together within the first 3 years of marriage. And so
it's his fault. This is
and for real, y'all, this is a Pickens reality because the comedy gene did not come from me. That is straight from Tyrone Pickens. And Jayla and Dawson have it the worst. Oh, Eric as well. Dominic too. Pretty good.
Dom's pretty mild.
Yeah, pretty good. But anyway, so today's episode, what we're going to talk about is the path of what it looked like for us. Because I didn't birth you, of course, and we didn't know what we didn't know back then.
The
we know better
outsiders
now.
tell us different.
You know, that is true because we go to the store all the time and they'd be like, "Oh, you look just like your mom," which, no lie, makes me smile a lot of the times.
I think it's racist. Racism.
How is it racist?
You think
First
we
of
all
all,
look
your
alike?
mother,
You think we all look alike?
No, your mother and I look alike.
Oh,
Come
so you
on.
think we all look alike? No, I'm joking.
Okay, so this is our discussion today. And the goal here is to be able to share our experience with the overarching end game being how can we help other bonus children think through and sort through relationships with their bonus parents, all for, the betterment and health of the blended family, right?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay. Yeah.
No, I'm thinking you go ask me the first question. I'll be like,
I don't know. I'm going to try to get her, y'all, because y'all know I'm the crybaby. And Jayla be the one like, forget that, man. So we'll see. We'll see how we do today. All right. So let's go on and dive into it. So while I know we've discussed this a little bit on one of our previous episodes where we talked about things from your perspective. Again, I feel like one episode is like never really enough to talk about any topic because stuff is just complex and
that's
deep.
why we'll
right?
have this podcast forever.
Yes, agreed. And so, but I want you to just kind of tell us again a little bit about your initial thoughts and feelings of when our family first blended in general, but then kind of more specifically, your thoughts about me and our relationship, as me as your bonus mom, from what you were 5. So what do you recollect and remember, like just where we started from at the beginning?
The first thing that popped in my head was, I have a big girl bed. You remember that bed with the drawers at the bottom? Oh, that was in your, yeah, I was happy about that. That was turd. But when we, for all points and purposes, when we first got together and merged, it was cool. Like, I don't think I was really like, I feel like I was at a stage of, all right, wherever my dad goes, I'm at. We cool. I'm with my dad. Because for people that don't know, my dad was in a relationship before he got with her. Situationship, relationship, whatever.
After he and your mom were divorced.
After he and my mom were divorced.
Right.
The lady, I don't want to say torture, but for all points and purposes, tortured me. She didn't really do anything to my brothers, which as I got older, I'm like, why would that happen? But then realizing like people can be envious of a relationship with a dad and a daughter. And you feel
we talk about a lot. Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. So, so I was just in a state of, okay, I'm with my dad. I'm cool. So then I feel like when you came around, I didn't really like feel negatively or positively about you. But then when it started to become this is your mom, call her mom, this is your mom. It was just like, I just felt like I just saw all things flash before my eyes. And so that definitely did make me have a resistance. Like when y'all got married, I felt like that was the worst day of my life. I was crying the entire time. I didn't want to be there because I don't know you. And then from what I just came from, like...
It was a lot.
Is this about to happen again? Like, I don't know this lady. The only lady that I knows, loves me and cares for me is my mama, And don't get me wrong, it wasn't like multiple women that I can recall that my dad has ever led us around, because I feel like my dad never really had women around us. Right. I think she was probably the only woman that I actually know of that was very consistent.
In a relationship with, yeah.
But outside of that, like if women walk up to me now, oh, I know your dad. And I'm like, okay. What that got to do with me? But yeah, I don't think I really felt any way in the beginning. But when he was like, yeah, you call her mom, I'm like, all right now. You getting a little too comfortable too quick. I don't like this. So I felt like that's what, that's what started the whole, like, I don't even want to say I don't like you, but I was very leery of who you were.
And if that's how you felt, that's, I don't
want to say I didn't like you because I didn't know you.
You just didn't know.
To not like you.
But that's fair.
So, yeah.
That's fair. So, thinking back on that, if we had a magic time machine, and one thing we often discuss and talk about from your perspective, knowing what you know now and looking back that we didn't understand and didn't make the decision to like, hey, slow this down. Let's allow some time to set some appropriate boundaries and build a relationship between bonus parent and bonus kids in a way that's positive. If you could, if we had it to do over, would you prefer that option number one? And number two, what do you think that should have and could have looked like to put you in a better place and space? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
I feel like within the 90-day period, you guys were trying to figure what you wanted out. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense for yourselves? I feel like in the way y'all thought what you wanted for yourselves was best for your kids as well. Does that make sense?
No, it does. But I'm saying if you could go back.
So I'm saying like if we could go back because you guys were where you were. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like I'm a hindsight is 20/20 type of person. And it is what it is. So, but I feel like if you could go back, maybe even if it were still just a 90-day stint, probably having just conversations more to get to know me. I feel like you did that, but it was more of a, hey, how are you? Not a, hey, how are you? You're so beautiful. What's your favorite color? What do you like to eat? You know, stuff like that. And I feel like you were probably trying to figure out how to even approach me because, like, you know, I don't know this little girl. She don't know me, but I don't want to be too much, but I don't want to not be enough. So maybe just a situation where even in that first week, you could have been like, hey, Ty, I'm going to take Jayla out for some ice cream and just get to know her. And vice versa with the boys. Like, hey, I'm going to take the boys to go do X, Y, and Z so I can get to know them. And this is something we've all said before. Had we just sat down
and talked about it.
Talked a little bit. Because again, from my previous experience, it was just like turmoil. And then me telling my dad what, like, the situation with the scar on my wrist. Like, when I told him what was happening, he was like, she was like, you know, she's lying. She was doing X, Y, and Z. And he believed her. So then it put me in a position to, like, now I feel like...
got trust issues and yeah.
Right. So...
on both sides. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just like, if we could go back, I would probably just have a little more in-depth just to make me feel more secure.
Right.
And more safe. Just like letting me know, like, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm not here to make you feel bad. Or I feel like that would have probably opened me up more. Because, like, seeing Jalen, I'm like, dang, okay, cool. Like, because I'm used to Eric and Dom, and now it's another boy, so we're about to be turned. So it wasn't never nothing with him, but...
yeah. Did you have an actual, like, grasp and understanding as far as my parents are divorced, or you just knew they weren't together? As far as,
well,
you know,
I honestly never knew my parents was married.
Well, because they were divorced when you were...
But I knew I had a mom and a dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I saw my mom and I saw my dad, so... it was never really I don't think I had a concept of marriage or a relationship.
That's fair.
I didn't even know that old girl, my dad was in a relationship. I just thought he was leaving us there.
Okay.
You know,
that's fair.
He would come pick us up and she was the person that watched us. That's what I thought. So.
But then once your dad and I met and the kind of simple, direct conversations that took place, very short, because they for sure weren't in depth. And however that conversation went down when, you know, he told you all to call me mom.
I still don't think I grasped
the concept of, okay, this is my family now and what was going on. Okay.
Right. Until y'all got married. I'm like, oh, so y'all wasn't playing. Oh, okay. No, y'all are tweaking. This is a bit much. Like, I don't even know this lady. It's crazy because, like, as I got older, I would talk to myself a lot to release some of my angers and frustrations. So I would be in that room, in that Jack and Jill mirror, talking to myself on Buckhorn. And I would always ask myself, like, why didn't he just tell us, like, before they got married? Like, why didn't he let us meet her? Like, we didn't even know this lady. Like, why didn't he let us know, like, this is what was going to happen? Like, we could meet her. Like, why didn't he ask if it was okay with us that this was happening? Like, I would always say that to myself all the time. But now I'm a mom, and it's like, dang, I'm trying to do what's in the best interest of my child. And I think that whatever steps I take is going to protect her and be good for her. So I'm not going to consult her because I'm the mama and I don't need to consult you, which is not always the best.
Right. The best path, particularly as we've learned. So, but you do, because of your own life processes now, has that helped kind of maybe relieve some of the past hurt and misunderstanding, because you see it now from the lens of a parent and you can go, okay, I see now how that happened and went down the way that did. Not that you necessarily have to agree, or not even necessarily that you think it's the best path. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I think I came to that realization before I even had a kid.
Just adulting, just going through adult situations, or?
No, to be honest, it was really after Gabby and Dawson was like, I don't know how old they were, but I remember it was one summer we went to Quincy and lived with my mom in Martin. And you guys were, for all points and purposes, amicable in a sense. So I feel like that summer, and then we came back, and every time we would leave for the summer and come back, I felt like Gabby and Dawson grew like 7 inches.
Well, you were never gone the whole summer. You do know that, right?
I know.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, like, whenever we would leave for the summer and come back, I felt like Gabby and Dawson grew. But I came to the realization, like, the way my mom is and the way she thinks and her temper, and the way my dad is and the way he thinks and his temper, I'm like, this child, if they would have stayed together, yeah, this wouldn't have been a good. We would probably be growing up. Because I also think about the fact that in my age range, there was like a lot of girls that was just outside. And I'm like, dang, my parents would never let me do that. But then I think, like, dang, if my mom and dad was together, gee, I'd probably be outside. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'd probably be really outside, because my mom is one of those people. She's free. I want you to express yourself however you can. I want you to be who you are. My dad is the same, but he's also more like, no, I'm not going for this. And if you piss me off, everything's cut off. And then my mom, her mouth. So then it would have been bound to me and her would have been going back and forth, because we're, for all points and purposes, the same person. So you're not going to talk to me like that. And I'm the mama. You're not going to talk to me like that. And then we go to my dad. And then now you're trying to please. I done played this scenario like millions of times in my head. So I'm like, yeah, it is what it is. But then again, had my mom and dad stay together, I don't think that they would have extrapolated the parts of themselves that they needed to grow. I feel like something that I've learned with my most recent ex situation, sometimes people trigger you to make you grow. And I feel like in that relationship, it taught me to speak up the first time. Not wait until stuff build up and just keep letting somebody play with you. No, speak up the first time. You don't like it, say something about it. I feel like you brought stuff out of him, whereas because they had the history they had, it would have never been. It wouldn't have
occurred like that. Yeah, that's fair.
It could have been brought probably now, as we all in our 30s. But I don't think it would have happened. I think it was best that they both ended up going the ways they went.
That's fair. That's fair. So what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced as a bonus daughter? And how did you work through them? Did you work through them, and how did you work through them? back then versus, and we'll get into other stuff, but let me pause right there.
I feel like my biggest challenge that I dealt with was me internalizing the fact that you always said, I don't want you to end up like me. Because I'm like, bro, I don't come from you. I don't have your bloodline. I'm not yours. I'm not going to end up like you. My parents aren't teaching me and letting me do. And speaking of my parents, I'm talking about you as well. I'm like, my parents not going to let me just stay in a house like this. I'm not going to be you like that. And I used to like be so upset about that because, again, this was a time where I was like trying to figure my own stuff out and not even realizing that the traumas that I experienced from years before were like really affecting how I viewed myself and looked at things and so on and so forth. So I think my biggest thing was like, I don't want you to end up like me. I'm trying to protect you from being like how I was. And I'm like, bro, I'm not going to end up like you. I don't understand why you keep saying that. But I understand now. I got over it. I don't even know when, but I got over it because I'm just like, I understand. Because I'm someone that talks to people all the time. Like, I don't want you to feel like I'm just talking at you just to talk at you. I'm talking to you from experience. Mm-hmm. And I say just that so
people are aware too. So let people, what was your perception of what I was saying because I explained it to you, but so that people know what exactly we're talking about when you say, I used to say to you that I put in certain boundaries and restrictions, if you will, for several reasons. But one of them being when I was, what did I mean? What was I saying to you when I said, I don't want you to end up like me just or deal like with what I was dealing with? Because I know what I meant, but I want to see if you recall.
In the way of clothes, who you hang out with, I just felt like when she said that, like seeking attention.
But based on what? So do you even now understand what I saw? What was the root?
I understand what you saw.
And through your action.
But I don't think you understood why I was doing what I was doing.
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's just like when we were talking about in the last episode about the fact that as a parent, if you have trauma, you're not going to let your kids go to certain places because it looks like
something that could harm them or create the same issue that you experienced when that may or may not be the case.
Right.
Correct.
So like now,
instead of working through it and talking through it,
I'm not going to let her stay tonight at Uncle Leakinham's house. That's just not me. I'm not going to do it. They might not ever hurt her. They might not ever do. They might be the best people to watch her in the world, but I'm not going to do it just because of my experiences. So I get it. I understand. But what you saw as far as just me going down a road of like seeking attention because of how I may feel about myself or wearing things because I feel like it'll grab, I feel like you seeing that and then me feeling like, this is not why I'm doing this. This ain't why I'm doing this. And then you're like, well, I don't want you to end up like me. And I'm like, bro, I would go in that room, shut the door softly, very softly. And I'd be like, bro, I'm not your kid. I'm not going to end up like you. And I would just be, so then it would in turn make me have more resentment towards you because I'm like, bro, you keep telling me I'm doing something I'm not doing. But as I got older, I understand like, okay, I see this. I know what this is. Like, pipe it down. Let's not like with Isabel.
Because even though I didn't mean to cut you off, but even though what I saw, so even though for me, that unhealthy attention-seeking behavior, my root was insecurity because I didn't grow up with my dad, right? Which obviously was not your story. But I saw the same actions taking place, and you're right. So I didn't know the root. I thought that it was it was really tied more to your hurt about your parents not being together. And at the time, and we've talked about this, I really thought you just didn't like me and had more of a disdain for me because you wanted your parents to be together and you didn't want me. But nonetheless, I knew that seeking attention in unhealthy ways, the end of it typically is not good any which way you shake it. And no matter what the root of it comes from. So the desire was trying to protect you, but to your point, where I misstepped and missed it was not sitting down and going, hey, what's up? What's going on? How you feeling? Like, what's this about? And then knowing what I know now and understanding we're two different, one left side, right side of the brain, right? Like you're a straight up creative. You are an extremely free spirit. You are just like your mom like that, right? You know, you both in where I'm scientist, more, you know, I'm, you know, like ops, logistics, sort of, you know what I'm saying? And that's a place where we missed it, you know? And so I just being able to inform other families, and particularly when you are working to develop, you know, whether you're at the beginning, whether you're in the middle of it, or you've been in it for a while, encourage in blended families that, man, take the time to sit down and find out. And again, you were 5, but you can still figure out age appropriate conversations. Like you said, had I taken you, hey, let's go get some ice cream. What's your favorite type of ice cream? You know, what's your favorite color?
Yeah.
That more, because it's not that I didn't try to do stuff like that.
I was gonna say, it's not that you didn't, because I remember going to Johnny Rockets.
Yeah,
I remember, like we done did some stuff, but I feel like it was more so like in a previous video that you said, like you just assumed a role. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if it would have been like, even if we were calling you mom, you didn't know about it, it could have still just been like, okay, like, let's still just take baby steps. Let's still get to know each other. Like, okay, you're calling me mom. I get it. But like, let's still just, you know. So it could have been a situation like that. Again, like a dog that's been abused and now the people come to save him, the dog mad at the people. Like, you're going to hurt me again. That's kind of what it was. And they had to build that trust up for the dogs to be able to eat. And
that's a fair analogy. Stuff like that. That's a fair analogy. Is there any other kind of major challenge that you faced as a bonus daughter that
I feel like one of the maybe other major challenges is when you and dad had Gabby?
Sharing the spotlight as the only girl, or what? Oh, what was it?
From off bat, I'm like, Gabby's going to be able to do everything I never was able to do. Watch. I love my baby sister with all my heart. That's my dog. That's my baby. That's my first baby for sure. But I was very envious of Gabby. Very, very envious. It wasn't until I had my own baby that I stopped being envious of her. I ain't going to lie to you.
But do you understand the difference of it really wasn't about favoritism or none of that.
No, I know.
Gabby's
but it's just Gabby is your child.
Yeah, but it wasn't even about that. Like, honestly, it really wasn't. And for her and Dawson, they were cut from a different cloth, because they were literally cut from a different cloth, you know, and their dynamics and who they are. Like, they think about it. Gabby and Dawson, they didn't push the envelope and all, like they just were different kids. They did. And so when they came from a different foundation,
they came from a 2-parent household off rip.
They did. And
so that's what I'm saying. Like, this is your child. This is y'all kid. Like, even when it comes to dad and Gabby, like, I just felt like, dang, like, this is sick. I already know by the time she my age, she gonna be doing whatever she want to do. And by the time she was my age,
now don't act like they could do. Come on now, they still had boundaries and rules. Cut it out.
They had boundaries. And rules.
They wasn't out here
listen,
you know,
of course they had boundaries,
freelancing all over the universe.
But again, of course they had boundaries and rules. But again, certain stuff like, hey, I want to go to the movies with my friends. That wasn't a thing for me because of the you don't need to be outside. You're going to be trying to talk to boys because of where I was and the things that I did. You know what I'm saying? Like going to, like when I wanted to go to the mall.
I was going to say that the trust, there was an issue of trust. And then also.
Because y'all didn't get to know that. Y'all didn't dive in to see what was really going on.
Correct. But and at the same time, the reality of when we would give you some leeway, many times it didn't go correctly. And so then you slide your trust, you're taking steps backwards in trust. And then there's also, quite frankly, for me, there was spiritual discernment as far as, and again, not knowing the root.
I could with everything I could while I could.
But
you feel me? All right,
I do, but it made it worse.
Yeah.
It would always make it worse.
Yeah.
So I would just say, and again, I was, the adult. We were the adults, so we have to own that thing, from an adult perspective. But I would also encourage, if there's bonus kids, watching this and you're of an appropriate age, being able to say, hey, can we sit down and have a conversation? And even if you may not have, you and I, through that time may not have been in a place. I mean, we had our moments, you know what I mean, where I felt like we were kind of breaking through, and I where I felt we were in a good spot. And I'm glad that I chose, in spite of feeling like there are sometimes I felt like you wanted to burn me up with laser beams in your eyeballs, but I refused to be defeated in the sense of not still doing my best to come through for you and take the responsibility of being the mother in the house for you, in ways that mattered. And I wish that we would have had the opportunity earlier, because we do it now, right? And even sometimes now, though, I'd be like, you gonna have to go ask her about this, because she gonna Jayla with me, and so I've learned, like, when you're in certain moods and modes, I'm now okay going, this will be a better conversation, or better served if your dad talks to you, because he's your dad, right? I didn't birth you. Have a different type of relationship.
I'll be ready to put some lumps in his head too. Everybody just stop talking to me. Like, I don't know, but I feel like I've gotten to that point. Do you think you would have,
and I'm sorry, I was trying to round out the question. Can you think of a reason of why you didn't say, hey, we need to talk? Like, I need you to understand. I need y'all to understand. Can somebody hear me, please? And I'm saying this because I want kids to feel empowered within respectful, but I
want the truth.
Yeah, go ahead. Of course I want the truth.
Because I feel like at a very young age,
you can't handle the truth.
That's literally what just went through my brain. That's funny. No, but from a very young age, my trust with my parents were broken.